Welcome, one and all, to episode 55 of Peace Talk. This is the Peace Dealer, and I have a special friend this episode. Once again, Peace Talk is an outlet that I have for really cool people to express themselves and for you to get to know them yourselves. And with that being said, JayLiebs, what's good?
I'm just chilling, man. I'm so happy to finally be here hanging out with you.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
I actually went to high school with Jason uh,
Yep.
when I lived in East Brunswick, New Jersey. So it's a nice nostalgia right here.
Yeah. And we kind of missed each other in high school, which is funny because I was a couple of years ahead.
Yeah.
And then we met up through a mutual friend who I had classes with like later in life. And then you and I are both doing this YouTube game right now. So it's like it's really cool like how kind of like, it's like start at the same spot, go completely different places and like come back together again.
Who was the mutual friend?
Mason.
Mason.
He kind of dropped off the face of the earth as far as I know.
Yeah, for
La-
real.
like last time I hung out with him, it was and it's nothing bad, right? Like, because I don't mind talking about it on here, but it was just like, he got a job, he got a place, he got a girl, so he was just like set in his life.
Yeah.
So no hard feelings. But he's the one that hooked us up. Like he was like, "Oh, you're doing this YouTube thing? My other friend is doing this YouTube thing. You guys should like collab or something."
Awesome.
And then here we are.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And that's really dope too to see you like really, full fledged into the production aspect of it.
Mhm.
I will talk a bit about your channel soon, but outside of that, what do you feel? How do you feel the state of YouTube has been changing, really?
So as you probably know, recently there's been the whole like adpocalypse thing going on. And it kind of goes along with some of the spiritual stuff too, because like, we're seeing this also in like the celebrity culture too. It's kind of like the truth is coming out for a lot of people. So I know from a marketing perspective that a lot of the issues these brands have been having with YouTube, they've been going on for a long time, and it's kind of just interesting timing that now they're making us think of it, right?
Hmm.
You have always been able to go into your AdSense account and say, I don't want my videos showing up on these types of videos.
Yeah, that's true.
So a lot of these brands either are hiring like bad people, or they just thought like, oh, it doesn't matter until now. Now the first apocalypse came from the, potentially terrorist and ISIS videos that like, these big brands like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and whatever have had their ads playing on, and they're like, I don't want to be associated with that. So they pulled all their ad money from Google, not just YouTube, Google.
Oh, damn.
And then what we're seeing now is the stuff with the YouTube Kids like app, right? So the really family friendly stuff.
Yeah.
There was those bot accounts that were always making like really weird kids videos that aren't really for kids. The stuff that like takes like Elsa and Mickey Mouse and has them farting on each other, like through these. Like I'm not even kidding. I know I could talk about this stuff on your channel. I've seen your show before, but I've been hanging out in the live chat a lot. Um, but like, yeah, so these bot accounts are making these videos that it seems to be like, you have two character models and it could be whatever characters they want. So it's like a formulaic thing. And this type of stuff is like gaming the YouTube Kids because it's advertiser friendly until you have like a human actually looking at it. Then it's like, why is this being served to kids? So their favorites cartoons doing sexual acts. So a lot of these companies pulled ads now like Mars, like M&Ms was a big one this time around.
Damn,
So the stuff, yeah, what?
from Google.
From Google, not
Wow.
just YouTube, from the Google Ad Network. So that's why you've been seeing a lot of these demonetizations, the fact that people with under 10,000 views on their channel aren't eligible for monetization anymore. You're already way past that, obviously, but so like now you have to go back to the old days of YouTube pre 2013, where you had to actually become partnered in a sense. You have to go through some sort of verification in order to do monetization. And so now what I'm seeing a lot of is smaller YouTubers being discouraged because
Yeah.
they're like, oh, I can't just make a quick buck anymore because the ad money has dried up. But the issue is that that should have never been the reason you were doing YouTube.
Amen. That's true.
Like I'm doing this stuff mostly because I've been the behind the scenes guy for so long, producing other people's videos, that I kind of want to get in front of the camera. I want to talk about the industry. I want to talk about the things I'm involved with. I want to talk with people like how you're doing on this Peace Talk show.
Mm-hmm.
And be able to get out there and build up community, because I make my money through doing all the behind the scenes stuff with my own business. I don't hope to get rich off of YouTube ad money in the future, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But everything else that I'm working on, it's a great platform to be able to get that stuff out there. So I'm still doing it even though I'm a small YouTuber, right? But the fact is that a lot of people are discouraged because they're not going to make their easy money from it. More for me is kind of how I see it.
That was well put. That was really well put. And I
Thank
like
you.
how you mentioned your work in production. For those who don't know, what is your sun, moon, and rising sign?
Okay. My sun is Taurus, my moon is Libra, and my rising is Virgo.
Virgo rising. All right.
Virgo rising. If I'm reading it right? The ascendant, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Virgo.
Interest. Is it like how what degrees is it? Is it like late in Virgo or early in Virgo?
19 degrees. I
19.
don't.
Okay.
So you have to understand. I love this stuff, but I'm like a total noob. So I don't know all the numbers and everything. I go to you for this type of stuff, but I know enough of it that you can help me fill in the gaps. That's going to be kind of how this goes today.
No, that's really cool. And it's good to know you're a Virgo rising too, because I remember around Jupiter in Virgo, that was when I started to see more of you kind of putting these videos out. And I think that was like 2015. But
that's when I started like doing it. I started doing it consistently though, like this year.
All right, cool. So it's nice to see you on your Jupiter journey too. And what I love about
Jupiter's very important in my chart, but we'll get into that more later.
What sign is Jupiter in?
Gemini.
Oh, sweet. Okay, so that makes sense too. You work with a lot of multimedia and as far as like education on it. So
yep, it's one of my secret Geminis, and that's why I always get along with you so well, is that like deeper in my chart there's at least 3 planets in Gemini.
Sweet.
So yeah,
that's what's up. I really appreciate Taurus because I see Taurus is the executive producer who like does work behind the scenes and make sure I kind of see them as of course putting stuff together, but then also like having the money to like hire the people, when producers at the top of their game. But I love how you live that. You just mentioned being a producer and making a living working behind the scenes. Could you tell us more about that and how you got into that?
Yeah, so I mean, I started off like after college, like everybody else, or at least nowadays, like most people, trying to get a job and work. So I wanted to do like digital marketing. I went to school for creative writing and evolutionary studies. So I got both a little bit of the creative and the analytical side to me. So I went to an agency and I was a SEO person, right? So this is where the behind the scenes stuff started. But I always, since I was a kid, like making videos and telling stories and taking photos and that type of stuff artistically. Um, I used the opportunity at like the agency whenever they needed like client testimonial videos filmed. I was on it. I was like, yo, I got a camera. Send me out there. I'll get all my other work done and I'll film this, right? And then that was when I got to start learning more about editing because I was working with some of the higher ups, and kind of went back and forth between a couple of other companies, again doing behind the scenes stuff, social media, SEO, all this business stuff, while also slowly building up my ability to do the video stuff better and better. Now 3 years ago, after I left my last job, I was a little bit tired with being a replaceable body in a seat because everybody knows social media, everybody knows SEO. Um, you know, Anybody who has watched YouTube, they assume that they can use YouTube as a creator and as a business person.
Mhm.
So I was, honestly tired of that. So I started my own company,
Nice.
and uh, through my networks and through knowing people, and every time I go out networking, I'm actually curious about people. I actually want to know what they're about, what they're doing, what makes them passionate, what makes them, you know, do what they're doing, why they decided to work on certain projects. So I make friends with people because I'm asking questions that, they're normally asked, like, what do you do? What's your ROI? Like all this businessy boring stuff. I want to know about the person, you know? So um through meeting people, I started off working on a web series last year, called 3 Billion Under 30. That was with a friend of mine, Jared Kleinert, who came out with
Okay.
a book of the same title. And that was looking at millennial entrepreneurs under 30, that are like world class. So the people that have been making it. So we did sit down interviews with them. I was the guy behind the camera, and we shot a bunch of episodes of that in New York City, going to their different locations and, you know, finding out where these people came from. So they're like hour-long interviews. Um, then I was doing work with some of my other friends. I had clients. This year I started work on another web series called Adult Beverages. This one's a sitcom, with four of my friends,
Nice.
where it's about four friends that are a little too involved in each other's lives, and they meet up and have drinks. It's like a How I Met Your Mother type of show.
Yeah.
And so, everything I did, I kind of just built off of the last thing, right? So I
Yes.
had all the marketing stuff. I was slowly building up my video skills. I was networking with people that knew more than me and learning from them and offering whatever I could to help them out in exchange. I couldn't pay people because I was still like, you know, broke, entry level, whatever. But I could work, I had skills, and by doing work with those skills, it helped me further develop them. So, I mean, that's pretty much how it keeps going. One domino after another. You keep building up on something. It's like in an RPG or whatever.
Yeah.
You got to put your points into different stats, to make yourself into the character that you want to be. So now I do video production, for corporate clients. I do live streaming for conferences. I have my own YouTube channel where I talk with. I'm starting a interview series of my own that's going to be starting to come out, I think, this week.
Cool.
And I already have a few episodes in the can, so they're recorded, which I would love to have you on there too.
Yeah.
Wink.
No.
I failed at winking there. Let me do it that way.
Okay.
And yeah, I just do whatever I could get my hands on. I just love working on creative projects, love telling stories, love working with different people, and that's how I got to where I am. And I'm still on that climb up. Like, so I'm not that. super payroll producer Taurus that you're talking about, but I'm trying to get there.
And well, see, that's what I appreciate so much about Taurus is like they they do, y'all do that slow grind, like
Hmm.
and I like I love your page too, as far as how it's set up, and you got all the playlists ready. It's like
Hmm.
you're methodically building the pieces. I see like Taurus is the manifestation of Minecraft, if there was a video game for Taurus. And
I was literally just playing Minecraft while I was waiting for you.
word.
I just hopped into there. I'm like, well, I want to play something right now, but something that isn't going to take too much time that I could just get in, get out, whatever. Yeah, I needed some downtime because I've been working all day.
The only reason why I even know about that game is because of another Taurus who would play that all the time. Like he showed me how, like, not only cool the game is, but like how many people like were really into it and how there was this subculture. But yeah, I really do appreciate the willingness and determination. Like that's
Mhm.
one cool thing about Taurus. You know they're going to get to that high big baller producing status because they're not like Gemini or Aries that'll just stop and start something new, right? But
Yeah, but I personally had no idea that I would end up here. Like, honestly, I just thought I was bad at working at corporate America. You know, I just like when you're surrounded by everybody else having a different vision for you than you have for yourself, it's hard to fight against that tide. And I think, so sometimes I look back and learn new things about the astrology and stuff like that, and I see that, like, I've said this to you before when we've just talked one on one, but I do a lot of the astrology in retrospect, where it's interesting to help kind of step back and see the bigger picture after I've gotten to a point or do some self assessment. But as far as the Taurus thing that you were bringing up, like, I'm all about the long game.
yeah.
Like, I'm playing a very big, very long game of chess. So, like, even though everybody in my life is frustrated with me, like, half the time they're like, why aren't you like where we see your potential to be?
Oh
And
my
I'm
god.
like, because I got to build a solid foundation to get there. I'm not just going to launch a rocket and hope that I land on something.
I think
Like, I'm going to build a thing from the ground up that will never fall.
amen. And once again, yeah, anything that a Taurus, anything that's built with that vibration lasts forever. And I'm
Mhm.
really so glad you mentioned that because that's it's so real. Like you can be surrounded by people's expectations and where they feel you should be
Mhm.
while simultaneously not acknowledging what you're already doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, and it goes back to why I want to leave the corporate stuff too, because it was trying to fit like a square peg in a round hole, you know?
yeah.
Like, I just didn't really fit there because it was, you have to be a cog in the machine, and I had a different plan for myself.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. And I mean, what more would you? I want to expand on that a little
Please
bit.
do.
It just kind of how do you feel? Do you feel that's more? Are you is your North Node in Aquarius in your chart?
I have my chart in front of me just because I know that I need it.
Word.
Um, North node. What was that? The ascendant node?
Yeah, it has like the
It's actually Pisces,
Pisces. So you're born like
but
80,
it's just like barely into Pisces. I was born in '89.
you know, oh, barely into Pisces. I feel that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed both those North nodes, Aquarius and Pisces, we have that standing out dilemma. But yeah, you know, like that whole notion of people seeing into your potential,
Mhm.
um, it just kind of personally, it just kind of helped me realize people don't really know you like they think you do. They just kind of have an image of what they want you to be, you know? And
Yeah, yeah. What were you saying?
no, go ahead.
Um, like I don't disagree with them on that potential. I just
Hmm.
I guess it's all the different grounded aspects of me because like, you know, not only do you know, Taurus with the Virgo rising, but I like, you know, three of my planets are in Capricorn. So I mean, like, you know, I have that real grounded aspect to my personality. And so I didn't fall for the millennial myth, so to speak. Like, you know, everybody was always telling me I'm special. I'm like, okay, but I got to get there.
Hmm.
You know, like I kind of did all that to myself.
Yeah.
Um, so if I'm not, if I don't deem myself like worthy of something or like I don't think I'm there yet, I'm not gonna be like I'm the world's greatest.
That's the
You know?
myth, right? The entitledness.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at by calling it that. Like I'm not about being entitled. I mean, like if I work for like a month and somebody doesn't pay me or something, I feel entitled to that. But that's because I did it and they owe me something. That's entitlement to me. Not like you know, oh, I exist, therefore give me money. Or like, you know, I smile in this really cute way. You know, I got the dimples and everything. Give me money for my photos. Um,
That's true.
you know, I'm not about that. I want to put in the work. I want to develop myself. I mean, you know, like I said, I was peeping your gate of truth from yesterday too.
Appreciate you.
And you know, with the alchemy stuff too, it's like, you know, I want to put in the work. I want to develop myself. I've understood that stuff from a young age, doing martial arts and being interested in alchemy. I know I'm throwing a bunch of stuff at you right now. We could circle back to things.
Hmm.
But the idea is that like all these different factors have kind of come into my life being like, well, you know, I'm not here just to make a quick buck. I actually want to develop the different aspects of myself. I want to learn about myself and the world around me and the people in it. And luckily with the online video and social media and stuff, I found a way that I can make a living doing that type of stuff, you know, critically examining other people, getting to know somebody's perspective on life that's different than my own, hearing and sharing stories from all around the world. Like it's a possibility to make that your living now, to travel, to you know, go cover different stories as a journalist because you have the ability to do so. Um, like in that movie Rosewater, the Jon Stewart produced film. Did you see that one?
I didn't even know Jon Stewart produced a film.
Yeah, it was based off of I forget the guy's name. I'm sorry for that, but it was about an Iranian reporter who like had lived in the UK and then went back to Iran, but because of a bit on Jon Stewart's show on the Daily Show, he was arrested as a spy because they called him a spy in a joking, sarcastic type of way, like you must be a spy. So it's a brilliant story. Um,
It's a
I'm
comedy.
sorry, I forgot the guy. What?
It's a comedy.
No,
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
no,
No, it
it
just
is not.
okay, okay.
It is not a comedy. It's about like personal freedom inside yourself. Um, but there's this one powerful scene towards the beginning when he first like goes back to visit Iran or Iran. I'm sorry, I'm messing up pronunciations. But and he has his camera and he's a journalist and you know he sees the protests and the rallies and everything going on and his friend says to him like, you know, you have a weapon and you refuse to use it, in reference to his camera.
Mm.
Like the fact that you can show the truth of what's happening here and get it outside of this country for the world to see, that's a greater weapon than any ammunition like we could have.
Wow.
So, you know, that type of stuff being possible nowadays
Yeah.
to me is like, oh, thank God I have a job that I might actually like.
That's true. That's as
Yeah.
far as just like journalism, right?
Yeah, like I do journalism here locally in New Brunswick. I run a live show with the newspaper. I've covered like sanctuary city protests and when I do stuff like that, I go without like a pre assumption, and I ask the people there, why are you here? What do you want? Like, like you tell me your story. I'm not going to put it through my filter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna capture it, down the barrel of my camera and show it.
Nice.
And if something's factually wrong or something like that, I can do that in another video where it's like, you know, this isn't going to do that. But that would be something that's in the context of that's my opinion versus, you
Hmm.
know, that's I'm not conflating the two things. Very very like how you see with Philip DeFranco, your favorite Sagittarius on YouTube.
Yeah.
I told you I saw the video.
Word.
Um,
Oh,
Yeah, but I'm not going to conflate my opinion with the stuff out there. But to kind of bring it back, I'm very ADD with this and throwing a lot at you, so I'm confusing myself.
oh, it's
But
cool.
yeah, it's just interesting that all that type of stuff is possible now as a career.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And when
like even
less,
what you're doing, being able to practice the spirituality and being able to help people and talk with people and work with them and stuff like that. Like you're not just some vagabond in this world.
yeah, it's surreal. I
Yeah.
just like you, I would have never known I could even do this, which I'm
Yeah.
definitely. Cool. When it comes to journalism, how do you feel that? Because I was just one of my favorite journalists is another Taurus. He goes by DJ Academics. He'll cover like hip hop stories, but
Okay.
I've seen him. I usually see him get under fire because like I really respect him because like you, he's unbiased. He's just going to want to speak the objective truth, and then of course
Mhm.
give his opinion based off of that objective, facts. But he can be under fire sometimes, as some of the artists won't like how he covers what they say or what they do. So how do you feel like the field of journalism is evolving with this technology? But what are also some challenges you have to go through as far as, other journalists who may not have integrity or other people who shoot the messenger?
So I think like the old like mainstream media for the longest time until like the age of the internet, it had validity, right? It had what we thought was it having integrity.
Mm.
It developed that over like decades, right? People went to the news and they were told that this is a reliable source of information. We're curating the information for you, and we're providing that as like a free and public service. Um, Nowadays, with everyone being able to call themselves a journalist, I think it comes down to like a branding thing that you need to show that you have integrity, right? Like a lot of people are putting the cart before the horse when it comes to branding nowadays, whether it's in business or journalism or whatever, you know. They're developing a brand before they actually have the quality of the thing that they're presenting. Because a brand used to be, all right, I make this stuff. It has a brand name. If it's good, that brand name carries more value.
Mm.
Not if that brand name carries more value, the product must be good, right? It's not that you're rolling your eyes because that is backwards, but that's how people are kind of
I
doing
was
it
I was
nowadays.
thinking I was thinking about what you said. Like I was trying to make sense of it. So like if
Yeah.
the brand name is good, then that doesn't mean it has more value.
No, so what I'm saying is that nowadays people are trying to create a brand name that has some sort of recognition. So
Oh,
so therefore, if the brand name has recognition, then the product must be good.
oh, got you. That makes sense.
But it used to be the other way around. If the product was good, the brand name had recognition.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
And I think also you're seeing that too, especially like in the hip hop community, because I think they're adapting most out of any music genre. And I grew up on hip hop and everything, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about.
The real hip
Uh,
hop.
yeah, like we come from the same place. You know how like everybody was just jamming out to it in school around here.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is that like I think a lot of the people in the hip hop community are the ones that adapted to the internet being open, the music industry kind of collapsing and stuff first. And it's the same thing with the journalists. What you're seeing is that it's available for most people to be able to do this, but the cream needs to rise to the top.
Top. Amen. Yeah.
So, like I said, when you're also in this misinformation of people branding themselves to be cream, but they're not really. So you see that too? Like you see all the misinformation being thrown around. So now you have to doubly, as a journalist or as an artist, you have to like 2 times or 10 times show your integrity.
Oh,
You have to actually you have to be infallible. Like it's at that level because so many people are coming at you with the character assassination. So many people are coming at you like trying to take down your work, because if you're right that they're not practicing integrity or their stuff isn't as good, you're affecting their money.
yeah.
You're affecting their livelihood. And instead of seeing that, like, how we want all enlightened people to see that as, and say, you know what, maybe I'm not as good as I think I am, and take that internally and go on that journey and do the self development to make yourself actually up to snuff.
Yeah.
You take it out on the person who's saying you're not good enough, or the person who's exposing the fact that you're a housing authority that's missing $1 million and got the third worst rating in the United States, because that's what I'm dealing with New Brunswick, because I covered the board meetings here. And my editor-in-chief almost got punched recently by the former chairman of the housing authority simply for asking, where did the $1 million go? That's it.
Who got punched?
My editor-in-chief at the newspaper that I work at almost got punched in the face by the former chairman of the housing authority, who's still on the board. He's just not the chairman anymore.
Okay.
Because he was asking, where did this $1 million go? Like the housing and urban development, the federal housing authority, basically, did their audit of the New Brunswick Housing Authority and found that they were, there's like $1 million pretty much unaccounted for, and that they're the third worst housing authority in the country. So these are the people from the government that are supposed to be helping the lowest income, most at risk type people.
Wow.
And they're not doing their job right. So journalists are asking, why?
Yeah.
So when you're actually seeking truth like that, because like you said that I'm unbiased. I know my bias. I think that's the difference. I'm not unbiased.
Oh, that's true.
I know my bias, and it's not a mistake that you made. It's just like this is just phrasing that a lot of people use, right? I know what my biases are, and I try to get as close as I can to objective truth. But I don't know objective truth inherently. I'm trying to find it, just the same as anybody else. But most people aren't showing up at these board meetings. Most people want to get on Facebook and Twitter and yell about politics and stuff like that. They don't go out into their own community and get involved. So like I caught a lot of flack after the last election because everybody that was saying, I'm going to take to the streets, we're going to get involved, we're going to do this. I was being a little bit of a troll. I admit it. I got 3 planets in Gemini. I got it there, right? And just for the record, this will make it even funnier. They are Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter.
Oh, that's good. That's really good.
So I went on to every single one of those statuses that I saw and was like, great, can't wait to see you at the next board meeting.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful.
Because, you know, and even after that, I only saw like one homeless advocacy group show up at the housing authority, and they've been the only like group of students in this area that I know that have actually come out to these meetings. But the thing is that like I want people to be informed. I want them to have good information. I want them to be able to make decisions themselves amongst this kind of sea of misinformation and getting people gaslit and riled up and everything. Like, you know, whether you want to use spiritual terms to talk about it or you want to just like talk about it as it is, like, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the same thing
True
at
that.
the end of the day. And you know, that's also kind of one of the secrets of the alchemy stuff too, right? Like, it's whether you call it lead into gold or you call it personal development, it doesn't matter if we're getting to the same thing. And that same thing in essence is like what most people would call truth or something that's objective.
Amen.
Like, I want to get to that point where we can actually get back to talking about stuff and not just throwing buzzwords at each other that are almost like negate spells, you know, and like Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Or Magic the Gathering, like negate, 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 negate. Like, no, how about we get together and do group rituals and actually build something?
Listen to understand and not to respond. Yes.
Yes, that one, which you were probably listening to during the episode.
It's a Gemini thing.
I know, and it's my thing to call you out on it and have a good laugh about it and be friends at the end of the day. Because I think that's what a lot of people are missing. It's that, like, we can have disagreements. Like, we can...
Oh,
what?
go ahead.
No, I just didn't hear you.
No, I was going to say that's what I value very much about Taurus person, because it is my 12th house, and a lot of Taurus individuals can call me out, but still in a real way, you know, not trying to like.
Yeah, you're still fun to go have a drink with. So.
So shoot.
Oh, shit, I just kicked my camera. That almost went really bad. All right.
I really love how you mentioned though, like we're in more of that time where people want to present a brand that's popular, even once again in the music industry. And I feel outside of it, like you have labels signing popular social media entities. Like Instagram is the new A&R. People want to see how much post engagements you have. I didn't realize, even me personally, like I'm scratching my head, like what can I do, not for more followers, but what can I do to like make my Instagram more of quality. I didn't realize how much like the I still love YouTube and everything, but
yeah,
just interesting to see it shifts. And there's good and bad things here, but of course that whole theme of talent taking a back seat and popularity being the trend. I think that's something that will always be for a while. But I also get the sense that, like you said, ultimately the cream has to rise to the top, and you know we might be in the middle of a renaissance.
We might be. I mean, like I used to love Aesop Rock, right? Not ASAP Rocky.
Yeah.
Most people will get confused when I try to say that, right? But maybe his lyricism was too much for most people. You know, right stuff, wrong time type of thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, you do need that kind of nexus of both the popularity and the quality of the work.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've seen this in every field too. You can't get discouraged from what you're doing just because something popular isn't that good. You know, if it doesn't match your taste or something like that, right? What's popular isn't under your control. But what is under your control is the quality of your own work. Most of these people that are overnight successes, I put that in quotes too, because like they didn't just start their YouTube channel or their music career or whatever the night before they got popular. Yeah. Things started taking off for them at an exponential rate. But that doesn't mean that right before that is when they just started. And I think a lot of people lose sight on that. That's why, like in my interview series that I'm doing on my channel, I'm asking some of these people, how did you get to where you are? I want to know, like, you know, why did you start doing this? Why did you discover, like today I filmed an interview with my friend Kayla that won't be out for like a few weeks now, but um, she does like Japanese desserts on her YouTube channel, Panko Bunny. And she, you know, she's a white girl from Canada, so it's not like we're but she learned Japanese. She wanted to be a translator. She was good at baking, and that's kind of like the nexus of all the different things that made her are are what ended up creating this whole thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So
Oh,
it was so it wasn't that like she followed some prescribed path or that she you know, did as she was told to kind of be like, okay, I'm going to get up to this point and then I'll be a ranger or something like that, right? Or like, this is how you become a swordsman or a lightning mage, if you will.
yeah.
Like there was no prescribed path for that, but somehow or another, all the different things, all the different aspects of her came out in this form when she was able to actually channel all of them.
Gotcha.
So now she has a successful YouTube channel and she makes all these different cooking videos and you might like that she even does every season she does an astrology sign themed.
That's awesome.
Thing. Yeah,
That's super awesome.
thought I'd give her a little shout out on that, but like it's relevant to what we were saying too.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this call so far. There's a lot of knowledge being dropped, so I really appreciate you for that.
Yeah, that's the Gemini Mercury, right? You just let me keep talking, and I'll keep talking.
Yeah, we got the nice Mercury reception. My Mercury's in Taurus as a gem, and then your Mercury's in gem as a Taurus.
That's hilarious.
That's really cool.
That's one I didn't know about you. That one's a good one.
Yeah, I'm definitely. I was actually wanted to know concerning your moon. How do you feel being a Libra moon makes you different than most Tauruses, or how are you able to combine those energies?
It is interesting. You know, it is kind of a source of struggle for me. I kind of to myself would say like body of earth, power of wind.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm very grounded, but like I'm very like I got those air qualities when it comes to my emotional world, when it comes to my very rich inner world that I've developed over the years. Right. So back when I first got into anime, and I'm not taking a sharp right turn here, but you know where I'm going. Like the first anime I watched was Bleach.
I was gonna ask you that next.
The first anime I watched was Bleach. Right. Woo! So that whole idea of Ichigo's inner world or every Soul Reaper's inner world, coupled with a very aggressive inner hollow self, and just that whole like introspection and stuff like that. Like I got a whole planet inside of me, if not like a whole galaxy. I don't know what's going on in there, right? But like I got this whole, I don't got like just like a space or a happy place. I have like a whole planet where like the different aspects of me populate it, and we can hang out, and you know I personify different things within myself that I'm trying to deal with. So that inner emotional world being a kind of like weird chaos, but like in balance, is kind of my Libra moon.
Okay.
Mind you, also, if I'm reading this right, and I'm using Cafe Astrology too, if you want to know, like, because that's the first one that shows up in Google, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. But my Lilith is also Libra.
Oh, cool. That's relevant.
So that's why it's interestingly like in balance, but it's like the light and the dark, and like everything is kind of all in that same spot. So that's kind of like, you know, when I'm on my walk, like every day that I try and do if the weather's nice, right? You know, that's my meditation time. My meditation has to be me moving. And then I'm able to get into that inner space and be able to, you know, play out the different things I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So yeah, that emotional world is very well defined for me.
That's definitely one thing I really appreciated about connecting with you, and it will be like using animes or mythology to help
Yeah.
understand that more quantum part of ourselves, or the private hidden part of ourselves. It was really nice to
Yeah.
talk about Natsu and a bit of
Yeah.
some Norse mythology too, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
Um,
and it ends up being that like it's kind of like, how do you explain things that exist outside of language? That was one interesting question that I was asked in my literary theory class in college,
nice.
right? Because we only know the things that exist within language. So how do you explain something that we don't have a word for it, right? Like that's why I use a lot of metaphor. That's why I use a lot of imagery. That's why like I tie a lot of unrelated things together when I'm doing that. I mean, that's also a great source for poetry and writing and everything like that too, right? Because you're drawing in all these images to create kind of one like greater image of something. And in that way, yeah, ignore that. I don't know. The phone's ringing in the house. um, but by doing that, you're able to kind of fill in the gaps of things that we don't have words for, things that we don't understand as a people or as a species. How do we explain these things? And I think that's one of that kind of at its essence is what spirituality has been for humans. You know, like how do we explain these things that we know are going on, right? Like we viscerally know that this is real. Like the only reason I'm not just some super analytical person is because I've experienced all the stuff that you can't explain.
Mm,
Like I say to you all the time, like when you're talking about all this stuff, I'm just like, oh, I'm going through this alchemical process. You know, I'm about to have my Saturn return and everything's kind of gearing up exactly for that.
yeah.
Now, is that like because it was written before I was born and all these questions I can't even get an answer to? Or is it because I'm trying to find meaning in my own life and trying to define that? Like what is it? That'll be an eternal question that you'll never have an answer to. So how do you kind of reconcile that? Well, you tell stories, you know, and that doesn't devalue it in any way.
Yeah.
But how do you get to the heart of these things? How do you express to somebody a feeling that you have that you don't have a one word answer to? Right? It's not anger. I'm not angry. I'm frustrated, but like I'm not upset about it, right? You can like try and work that out all you want, or you can be like, remember that episode of Fairy Tale?
Aha, yes, yes.
You
All
know,
right.
remember that time Mystagon was trying to figure out who he really was, you know, who he was going to be and stuff like that. That's kind of where I'm at right now, right? Do I want to take on that responsibility or do I want to continue walking around with my brooms on my back? Like, which one is it going to be?
That's real. That's super real.
Right, so that's what we do to fill in the gaps in our language is we tell stories, we use imagery, we use things that we know that we have in common in order to express that. But at the end of the day, it means something to me that it might not mean the same thing to you, even if I'm saying those same words.
Yeah, so real.
Comprende?
Yeah.
No, just messing with you.
And I look forward to like how we will come up with the words soon enough. And
Yeah.
that would be awesome. So
Mhm.
yeah, before we close, let's play the questions game where we ask each other three questions and
Oh, I didn't come. Okay.
you'll ask first and then I'll answer and then I'll ask first and then you'll answer and then we'll just go two more rounds. They love me in live chat, by the way. I see
They love
King.
me in live chat. I'm not watching it because I have shitty internet right now. Not gonna lie, but thank you all. I love you too, and I will be in the live chat hanging out on future live streams. So say hi to me and socialize and be friends.
For sure. Cool beans.
Okay, so I'm asking you a question first.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to spiritually over the next year? Like,
Uh,
like to clarify, what do you kind of see coming, or like your like what's the biggest thing that you're preparing for, in a sense?
the biggest thing I'm preparing for is my inevitable ego death, where
Okay.
I'll have to finally come to terms with everything that is like stopping me from truly ascending. But I mean, I'm gonna experience this as like really, really shedding bad habits, and which has been gradually been doing. But
Mm-hmm.
I just have so much more production. You know, I had that wave in 2014, 2015, and then I really like went into my own world. But I'm just
Mm-hmm.
so excited to produce like a lot more content. And I'm really excited to work hard again. I kind of lost a bit of that because my focus was really like here and there, but I'm getting that direction again. So very, very excited
Yeah,
to
you've also, and I know you'll ask a question, but
talk
you've also been scaling a lot recently, and I just know from a business perspective, like bringing in new people and changing formats and doing all that stuff, like that's a holding pattern type of exercise. Like you put the growth on pause, you kind of build out the new thing, and then you let the system run again. So, I mean, that's to be expected with the stuff that you were working on. So, like you said before we got on this, I would kind of just keep going with that flow.
sweet.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I mean, my
That's
question
what
to
I
you
do.
was a bit similar. I
Okay.
wanted to know how, I mean, you'll know when it happens, but what's up with you and this Saturn return come 2018? Like, what are you ready to for?
I think that you know, going with something that you and I both know in common, it's been like the alchemical process of becoming myself again. You know, we could do a whole video on this together too, but I went through depression like years ago. It was really bad. Like the ego death stuff, that was easy. Um,
Oh,
right,
damn.
right. Like, um, but no, it wasn't really easy. Actually, it took a couple of years. It was part of the recovery though of the depression. So it's kind of like, would you rather have hell or would you rather hold on to your ego? So that was a really easy choice for me.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, through that process I kind of lost everything about myself. I was completely shattered. Over the last few years I've done the process of like deep self-examination, really spending time with those personified aspects of myself. And this is the like quickie version of my whole inner story. um and you know, now I'm at a point where it's like, you know, I just resolved the issues with the last two aspects of myself. And you know, that whole process, every time you go through it, it's like you gain another part of yourself back, you know. um but through that I also lost all the assumptions that people have of me. I, you know, put more weight into what I think about myself. So I'm most excited over this year with the Saturn return and everything to pour the molten cast of myself and let it take form again.
Nice.
And then learn what that life is like. It's like a regeneration in Doctor Who, only it happened over like 6 years.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like instead of just happening like glowing arms out and now I'm a different person, it happens over a lot longer process than in an instant. Um, but now that I'm nearing the end of it, I kind of see like, all right, this is who I'm gonna be, and I can't wait to see what that guy does. Um,
Very, very.
does that satisfy your question?
Oh, more than enough.
Like I said, get me talking in a comfortable environment, and I will keep doing that. I'm asking you another question.
Yes, sir.
What's your biggest struggle with the YouTube stuff?
Ooh, good question. Um,
Bringing it back to the physical world now, right?
yeah, my biggest struggle with YouTube, I would say, um, I'm not gonna lie, YouTube is treating me well, but I
Mm,
guess I could say if I'm gonna think long term, I guess expanding. I haven't experienced too much struggle with it yet, but I
mm,
really feel like the content that the biggest struggle I may face or challenge now is wording my content in a way that could appeal to a wider audience.
mhm.
I'm doing that by just kind of staying true so it'll attract like the right people. But I guess really just finding ways to there we go. My biggest struggle actually is the same struggle that I have with um Instagram
Okay.
and it's what I appreciate about seeing your YouTube channel. It's a very subtle. I think it has much to do with having Virgo and Libra energy, which I don't have. So I
Okay.
I'm really good. Someone like you and me, we both have substance, right? But what I lack is
Nice.
that packaging, like putting, having the Coke, but putting it in the bottle. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I'm really working on ways to present my material in a more um, in a way that's more polished and
Mhm.
looks more creative. Right now, and I've focused more on raw substance and just being
Mhm.
as is. But I do want that presentation to look, stand out and look more put together, if anything.
Yeah. And I think if I have any advice for you as I'm, sitting here listening to you and letting my subconscious come up with ideas, um, don't worry about the polished. Focus more on the fact that you need a structure that is going to actually channel the massive amount of energy that you have.
Okay.
Don't worry about the polish. Don't worry about the perfection.
Okay.
Worry about the structure that's going to help bring out what you have.
Like structure of the content.
Yeah, like for instance, your issue with scaling is finding new people that are going to get what you're doing in a sense.
Yes.
So by tagging things properly, by having a routine, like borrowing some of that Taurus energy with your communication, with like your uploads and your schedules and everything like that, just having that structure that allows you, like right now, right? I told you before, all my stuff is set up,
Yeah.
so I'm able to hop on this live stream whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
my camera is there on my tripod. The capture card and everything I use to do this for live and stuff, it's all set up. All I had to do was take the link and make sure when I got into the hangout that I said I want you to use this camera and this microphone.
Mm.
So all my stuff was set up so it allowed me to do other things, and then I didn't have to worry about being creative when I got on this because I knew like the camera's going to capture me well, the lighting's going to light me well, the microphone's going to pick up my audio where it is. So I don't have to come down here and spend 20 minutes each time setting everything up and testing it. And
That's
just
true.
that structure alone helps me produce more. So it's just little things like that that help
So you're
you
saying
be able to bring out the creativity if your structure is there.
so focus more on being consistent and having the structure of the content than perfecting a
And
posture.
then, and then if you want to find new people, you need to figure out like what tags you're going to use for all your videos. What are people searching for?
Gotcha.
Find where your audience is so that you can put your stuff there for them to find it. And again, it's like, it's that difference between drawing the circle in order to do the transmutation
Mm.
or already having the circle, therefore you just need to clap your hands and do it.
Oh, that's real. That's real. That's
So
solid.
if you have your upload default set, if you like, all this stuff written out, documents, just like put stuff in its own place. So that way, like I'm a messy person, right? I hate organization. I'm not coming at you like somebody that knows how to do this inherently. But I know that in order to do the things I want to do, I had to develop that stuff. So yeah.
That is
Um,
advice
it
right
is
there.
your turn to ask me a question.
No, I think I definitely got better focus there. Because that kind of goes along with the first question as far as being excited to produce content. So I'll just focus.
Try to move it until I'm in frame.
My second question for you is what is one or two animes or mythological stories that really help you tap into what are your two favorites? What are the ones that kind of helped you understand yourself in these archetypes more?
Mhm.
And thank you. I think you were the first person to tell me about American Gods too, if you wouldn't mind
Yeah,
that show.
that was a good one. Just because I love Neil Gaiman. He wrote the book that's based off of. He also does a lot based off of Norse mythology and other mythology. American Gods it's a story about immigration, where people brought their gods with them to America, from all different cultures and countries, and the gods are actually like corporeal. They have bodies. They're people, and they live based off of belief.
Oh,
So like if they have believers, they have their powers. And
oh,
that's like the old gods. So those are the gods of nature and stuff like that. Even including like other beings like leprechauns. And there's a lot of great comedy too. Like when you first meet the leprechaun, I think he's like 6'7" height wise. And somebody says to him, "I thought leprechauns are supposed to be short," and he says in an Irish brogue, "That's racist."
that's awesome. Yeah.
Right? And then there's like a Jesus for every culture. So
Oh,
there's black Jesus, Mexican Jesus, white Jesus, like Arab Jesus, like
all the
and
Jesuses.
they had all the Jesuses from all the different cultures are there, right? So they kind of poke fun at religion, but at the same time, like they do it justice and they tell the stories kind of true to how they are, like in practice. But it's a work of fiction, and it's very interesting. I don't want to say too much because there is like kind of a grand scheme behind the whole thing that needs to be played out. But it's the war of the old gods versus the new gods. So the
These,
old gods, like pretty much any of the ones that you would know from mythology, versus like the internet, media, and technology.
oh, and they have corporate form too.
Yes.
Oh, I gotta see this show for real. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're fighting each other, but like they're fighting each other over belief. So there's a lot of commentary on like social media, for instance, like we were saying with the Instagram people and everything, that they're given the power to be gods if they fall into the system.
Oh,
Like if they do things the way that they're supposed to, so that they can create like a new world order in a sense. Um, on that similar vein, recently, I don't know if this one helped me as much, but it was kind of interesting if you're more into the anime stuff. Noragami is a anime. I think it has like one season on Crunchyroll right now.
okay.
Um,
Origami?
Noragami.
Nor.
Yeah, it's about a god who is and the gods have like these like spirits that they turn into weapons. So it's almost like a
Soul Eater
uh
kind
it's almost like a soul eater type of thing. Yeah, but they're way more connected than how like the soul eater people were more like partners that just kind of paired up. Like
of.
that god gives you a name, which then gives you an existence, and it's like a disembodied spirit that they can call on.
So do you give the spirit
It's their regalia.
it's like a Zanpakuto kind of thing?
Yeah, but like instead of the sword of your soul, it's a
Oh.
soul that you turned into your sword
Oh, it's a separate
or
soul.
your gun. Yeah, it's a separate one, but they're connected through bonds and stuff like that. There's a lot on like chords and stuff like that. So the spirituality in it was pretty kind of spot on. I just like that one. Um, Bleach was obviously a big thing for me, but as I got older, I did notice I learned something in retrospect about Bleach, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. And I think you'll find this interesting that Ichigo is a character without motivation.
Oh my God, you're right. He basically did everything he did just to protect
It was for
Lee.
other people, or it was because he's the hero device in the whole thing.
That's so
Like
true. He
the
never had
things
any.
that related with him were his inner self stuff more than his fights and everything. And that was because I was going through depression. I was somebody who lacked that overarching motivation, the thing I wanted in life. That's why transitioning out of that fairy tale was a good one for me to switch to,
Yeah.
because they were looking at living
Yeah.
and at overcoming adversity and being the best regardless of what people thought, but based on your ability to do so. Um, I'm trying to think of other ones. Assassination Classroom, I feel like, is very underrated.
Oh, I gotta check that out.
For the Yeah, it's a really good one. Um, just artistically, it was done like it wasn't done to last forever.
It was like a
You
short.
know, it was done in 3 seasons. They knew what they were doing, like how the original British Office was like 2 seasons in a movie. That's my plan.
Oh, nice, nice.
Um, that one is about I think middle school classroom of kids that have to kill their teacher by the end of the year.
Oh, that's so gangster.
And their teacher is a super creature, like a tentacle monster that can move at Mach 20.
Damn.
Um, but it's cool because they get to use guns and weapons that only affect him.
Oh,
So they're like in classroom, basically trying to shoot him while he's trying to teach math.
oh, so they have the whole
But
semester to teach. Okay.
yeah, but the opening songs and stuff like that, you know how those are big in anime. They're actually all sung by the cast of the show in this one,
That's interesting.
and they show a clear progression in how the story goes. It's a really well done story, and the fact that these kids are in the E class, which is like the lowest class of their school, and there's a lot of focus on how the whole school's structure is to put down anybody in the E class so that nobody wants to be there and they all work harder. But these people are like the ones that have been put down by the rest of their class. Like they're told that they're nothing. And, you know, without ruining most of the plot, the kind of idea is that by facing this impossible and secret challenge, they develop themselves. And it was kind of hard not to be moved by those characters. Um,
Assassination Classroom. Gotcha.
Assassination Classroom. So I'll keep it short because I can list a ton of different anime.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's one of those things that you have to find the things that resonate with you. You have to find, like, you know, I found those things at different points in my life. Like I said, I found Fairy Tale when I was coming out of depression and looking to find something that would motivate me towards life rather than away from it. You know, something that would fill me up rather than hollow me out.
And that's one thing that I feel is interesting, the timing. Like I feel like if I grew up watching Harry Potter and
Mhm.
Avatar, and even if I saw Hunter x Hunter early, like that would have changed my.
Hunter x Hunter was really good too, but I leave that one to you. Go on.
Well, the only thing I'll say about that is like I can now see why I had to watch Bleach and Naruto before I was ready for something like Hunter x Hunter. Even though I could have seen it before, I just feel like even the timing of seeing certain things is so divinely guided. I really love that you mentioned that because
Yeah.
really does help you.
And it ends up being one of those things that it's like I know I saw Assassination Classroom like in Crunchyroll like on the list for the longest time. It's just like, man, f that. I don't
Same here.
I don't want to watch that, whatever. And then I watch it now and I'm just like, I'm crying, I'm dead. Like this is like no, stop. Like I'm in the comments like why do I feel so much for a monster?
Same with,
Like
my
why do I feel so much from 2D animations? Like this doesn't make sense to me. But I was ready for it, and like I was just like I was also just bored on Crunchyroll one night and it was just like, all right, I'll finally watch this, whatever. And I was like, that's interesting. Like you just said, I'm like, that's gangster. This is a classroom of middle school kids killing their teacher. Oh, their teacher's a monster. Okay, that's kind of cool. Oh, and also the motivation is that he destroyed the moon and would destroy the earth in that year
Oh,
if they
so
don't
there's
kill him.
motivation too.
There's
Okay.
motivation. I forgot to mention that. That's in the first episode though, so it's fine. That he blew up the moon and he'll do the same to the earth
Word.
in a year if they don't kill him. So yeah, just stuff like that. You find different things at different times, and again, it's like what I was saying before, the storytelling, right? Like you either you come up with the meaning behind it, right? Or did you come up with it? We can ask ourselves those questions.
Yeah.
Speaking of asking questions, um,
Last round.
what tarot card do you identify with as your signifier?
Oh, I was pulling tarot cards right now. I just pulled the Empress, but my
That's not your, that's not your signifier. Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
my signifier, technically, as a Gemini, is the Knight of Swords, but I really resonate powerfully with both. My true signifier is the Hermit card,
Mm-hmm.
and in some senses, the Magician, but I'm really embracing the Two of Wands right now.
Oh, okay.
Mars and Aries card, but I'll say my true tarot birth card is the Hermit. So I'm feeling more like embracing that more than ever, and the sacrifices that come with it. So I would say I know it's one. So okay, signifier. So I will say the Hermit would be it. If not, like the Knight of Swords or the two. Yeah, the Hermit came out, so not that of the two of Wands. But yeah,
Yeah.
very good question, by the way.
Also, just turn around is fair play. It used to be the Fool
Oh, sweet.
because this is like my. Oh wait, it's up here. Sorry.
Uranus.
I'm put. This is my according to everything. This is like my birth card.
Nice.
But just to let you know why I was saying everything else, this is where I'm at now. The next one in the cycle.
That's super great.
So I mean, like that's where I'm at right now in life. So it's all and it's all thanks to this jerk.
The King of Swords. Yeah, jerk indeed.
The one that won't let me quit.
That's good. That's actually good. Well, my last question to you really is the same that I usually ask the killer. What are your 3 favorite zodiac signs, and then what are the 3 signs that give you the most challenge? And they could be placements too if you don't want to do sun signs.
My most challenge is not, I'll just start off by getting people to hate me, I guess. My most challenge is probably, I mean, Scorpio and Aquarius are up there, and I have a hard time coming up with a third.
That makes sense though with Scorpio and Aquarius.
The third one's kind of hard to find for hate. I mean, like I love to hate Gemini.
It's fun to hate Gemini though.
But like when we hate, you and I like are the type that is like, all right, let's have a couple of drinks and just hate on each other for some good times. So I mean, like, but that's not actual hate to me. Like Gemini's kind like if I meet a Gemini, I'm like, cool, we're gonna be homies. You know what I mean? Like, because I'm gonna see through your stuff and we're both gonna be in on the joke.
Yes, yes, yes. It's that's
So,
how it's always like too. Like whenever it's like being called out on it, like I see what you're doing, Gemini, and it's like ah.
but it also allows me to not only call you out, as long as you're doing no harm, I'll join in.
Oh, true, true.
I guess Capricorn.
Oh, interesting.
Capricorn will be my third, just because, um, just based off of people that I know that are Capricorn that I've dealt with before, it's like we get out of sync really easily.
Interesting.
My homies are probably I don't meet very many other Taurus. I'm just like looking at the whole list trying to see if I'll intuit something, but my homies are usually like Gemini, Sagittarius, Leo.
Gemini, Sag, and Leo.
Yeah.
Leo is usually a favorite, but I'm glad to see Sagittarius there.
I like Sagittarius. My best friend that I've known my entire life is Sagittarius. So, I mean, I vibe with the Philip DeFranco vibe too. Like that's people I'd love to hang out with.
Solid.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I just I like the straight shooters, you know. Which is funny that Gemini's on that list. But I need a break from literacy sometimes. Geminis are the artists that I hang out with, right? They're the ones that are creating something that I like because I understand that duality presence. So I mean, I guess because I understand it, I get along with them.
That's where. Oh,
I
you know.
don't know. I don't know too many Aries. And Pisces is just the default love.
True. It's hard not to love Pisces.
Cancer, don't have a problem with any of them. I've known one really well in my life, and he's a cool dude. So other Tauruses, I butt heads with most of the time because they're either like me, where they're actually figuring themselves out and they're doing something, or they're like the ones that give me a bad name, where they're just sitting on their ass all day doing nothing. And like they're so set in their ways. Like I get it, I understand it. I have enough that's not Taurus in my chart that like I need to keep moving. So,
Amen.
yeah. And
Well,
then
go ahead.
can't hate on Libra
Yeah, Libra makes
or Virgo, but it's like, yeah, the ones I have strong feelings about are the ones that I listed as my three for each.
cool.
That's kind of where I went with there.
I'll hate on Libra and Virgo, but that's just because I'll hate on Libra and Virgo when I'm able to admit I'm being jealous of them. Like I'll do it for shits and giggles, but it's really hard to hate on Libra because like they'll hit you with the balance. Like this, I'm only doing what you're doing. But anyway, the last question I have before we end is I have a link to your website below and your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Other than that, how can people reach you if they want to check you out? And what word do you have for any aspiring entrepreneurs who might be watching?
Since we're bringing our mics close, I guess I don't know. You're leaning into your mic. Let me just pick up the mic right now. So I'm JayLiebs. You can find me at JayLiebs on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Snapchat is JayLiebs222. Because that's an important number to me. And advice for starting YouTubers or people that want to, do any of this creative work on the internet, whether it's video or music or writing or what may have you, right? I'm messing up words. We've been live for a while. The classic advice is just to do it. My advice is when you get started, don't worry about doing it perfect. So not just to do it, but like don't worry about finding your niche. Don't worry about finding your voice. Don't worry, right? This should be a creative thing. If you don't have something inside of you that you need to tell the world, that you need to create, Either find it, or maybe this type of stuff isn't for you. If you don't have fun making videos, don't do it. If you don't want to tell stories, don't tell stories. Go get a regular job. But if you know that you want to do this, then you have two options. Do it and you'll find whatever your thing is along the way, or don't do it and you'll regret it until the day you die.
Amen.
And now I'm going to put this down.
Bravo!
I put it down nicely. I can't drop it because I need it.
Well, thank you so much again, Jay, for joining. This was definitely a really dope peace talk.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, chat, for turning up according to what Mike is saying. I can't see it again because I would have lost connection if I also had the chat going. I also would have lost focus.
King John has definitely got jokes, so it was pretty dope. And
King John, tweet me your jokes. we will have a joke off. It'll be great. Just don't mispronounce that first word.
Word. Word. Well, anyway, once again, thank you for joining. And yeah, for those of you who are tuning into the webinar in a few minutes, we're gonna get that live and popping. And tune in next week where we will interview a couple of Scorpios, and hopefully that won't get interfered, but we shall see.
Well, if they're there, it shouldn't be interfered with.
Yeah, well, you got to get them on first. We'll try without any.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I'll be in the live chat.
All right, y'all. Well, thanks again for joining, and peace.